welcome to my video of my life, because we're up to the age of 11 now and I've just started at Bishop Gore Grammar School in Swansea. Everybody in my class at Bryn Mill passed 11 plus and all the boys went to Bishop Gore. Here I am in my blazer looking very smart, it was maroon with the yellow colouring, and I've still got my old school tie. Isn't that sweet? Yeah, there it is. I wore it for all those years. The school, well, it was built in the 50s, and you can see it's built around kind of two quadrangles. It was nicely in kind of parkland. We had lots of areas to kind of play and what have you. You can see the rugby pitch right down at the bottom right-hand side. And it was quite a nice route to work. Here you are from the uplands to Bishop Gore, about a mile and a quarter. I used to get up at 7:30 every morning. You'd have cereals and listen to the radio, maybe look at the paper, and it'd take me about half an hour to get there. If I was being lazy, I'd catch the bus. The bus would go from outside Waynes and the uplands, but if I was walking, I'd walk up the hill, past Waldron's where Mum got a haircut, past the student kind of lodgings, and then look down through the terraced houses to Bryn Mill Junior School, and then at the chapels, and then go on to past the church where Margaret got married, the Catholic church, then on to the bottom of the hill and at the entrance to Singleton Park. Into Singleton Park, it kind of winds its way down to the sea, but there's a stone circle there, which is kind of surprising, but I think it was built for a kind of Eisteddfod or something. You can see the entrance to the Botanical Gardens. I once cheated the school cross-country race, went through there. Caused me quite a lot of trouble at the time. Anyway, past the church and into the grounds of the school, and this is the dining halls here. And when the girls finally came, they used to watch us from behind these goals, and Griff could never kind of work out why. Not until it was too late anyway. Front of the school, it was, I think, quite a good-looking school. It had these quadrangles full of kind of big trees and what have you. The bike shed, though the bike shed certainly wasn't safe for the bikes. And then the back of the school, you can just see the wood hut where, look, I made this magnificent fish. I've still got it, yeah. And then down into the grounds below. These steps are right next to the gyms. We had the 2 gyms and a swimming pool, which is pretty good. We also had 5 courts and lots of yards. You could play football here. You could play football there. You could play football here. So that was all good. If I went by bus, it was the 74 to Bishop Gore, or I could cycle. As I said, I didn't cycle for very long, but you go up that hill, past the church, past the bus stop with a cut through to Eversley Road, past the church hall where I got thrown out of Cubs, and on to the keeper's cottage. Now then, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kids, what are they doing here? Well, Raindrops Keep Falling on My Head was a great song. So we listened to a lot of stuff like that and the Lulu Show and what have you. But one of the first songs I remember was In the Summertime, coming out at school. And that was the beginning, really, of me starting to develop my own musical taste. I think my parents had switched me from the piano to clarinet for no particular reason. And nobody had taken me through the sort of music or anything like that. But I loved pop music. And here's Lawrence, and we used to listen to quite a lot of this sort of stuff. We'd also listen to Top of the Pops, and we'd listen to Batman. We'd see that in colour. Lawrence was a good friend, often roaming around the Crescent, down to Joe's for ice creams. And his parents had a beach tent at Langland. It's fantastic. You could have a nice wooden base. You keep all your stuff there. Indeed, I once ran away from home and stayed there overnight. Next day, went on to see Paul, who was in my class. Paul Harry, he's a lovely, lovely boy. It's taken a few years later. He lived in the Grove, which was at the bottom of Cwmdonkin Hill, which is made famous by Dylan Thomas. And here's an inscription to him. A big thing about the year was that I played rugby all the way through. I'd come from Swansea schoolboys at the junior school into the first team, played every match, bar the last one. And you know what? We won the league and cup double, which is fantastic. A little bit of sadness that Dad never came to watch or came to the kind of supper. I don't think he's particularly comfortable with the Welsh boyo dads, so that was a shame for him. And then I got a report at the end of the first year. There the report I always get, kind of doing okay, 6 out of 30, nothing to see here. The big exciting thing was we were off to France. Yes, we're taking the car onto the ferry. You can see Mum had a lot on her hands. It just needs Janet to be unhappy for a while, and it takes all her attention. But hey, we're going past the Isle of Wight, past the Needles, and look at the car, absolutely ram-packed. Though no David, no, we left David behind. It was very, very cruel. So the reason for going was that Dad was in the conference at St Paul de Vence, and I think Mum and Dad were put up in some luxury up in a hotel in the conference centre there. We were down at the bottom in a campsite in Fréjus, and we had this ropey old green tent, which I took to France 8 years later and dumped in a ditch in the Somme. But we were pretty happy. I think it has to be said. And onto the beach, and these are the famous pebbles at Nice. You can see us all there. I don't think Mum's sun hat did her very much. We'd go for drives. I remember looking down on Monaco, and I think this was Saint Maxime is the harbour, I believe, but I'm not very sure. And we'd wander around, and you know what? It was all new. The sun, the boats, the food was completely different to anything we'd done before. Even the casino supermarket was like massive and did all sorts of prepared food. We had a good holiday, and you can see us here on the way back. So into year 2, and here I am with my school tie on, helping Mum with the trellis. Now, why is there a photograph of Singleton Hospital? Well, I had to have 2 operations. Even now, I think you can see that I've got a kind of fairly dodgy sinuses. Had 2 operations. The second one was quite big, quite uncomfortable. And here I am afterwards. You can see, if you look, you can see the face is a bit marked up. It did mean that rugby was very tricky for me now. I was in the second team by this stage. I hadn't grown. Some of the other boys had. And if you're playing prop and you're small, it's pretty brutal, I can tell you. But I kept going. And here's David with Dad. Yes, a nice series of photographs. Janet and Trevor looking happy. Margaret delirious with Penny and Sam, our Randy tortoises. And here we are trying to get group shots going. Real hard job to get all 5 of us grinning happily at the same time. I think they managed it with 3. We'd go see Nana. This is a picnic on the way up there, and she'd come and see us, which was nice. We'd also see Uncle Trevor, his dad with Uncle Trevor and the girls, which is very nice. And I think Mum and Dad got invited to Buckingham Palace and took Janet. I'm not very sure. And then here's my report at the end of the second year, and it's near identical to my report at the end of the first year. I was doing fine. Now then, why is Benny Hill here? I know all the words to Ernie off by heart, and I think so do most men of my generation. But things were changing. I had a radio now. I used to listen to it all the time. Radio 1, Tony Blackburn, and then 208, Radio Luxembourg. I liked Slade thumping its way along, and T-Rex were starting to put the glam in glam rock. So that was really quite something. A big part of my life. You watch telly a bit, you listen to music, do some reading, but to maybe 3 hours a night listening to music. Then into my third year at Bishop Gore, we discovered Oxwich Bay now, starting to become one of our favourite beaches. Mum and Dad on the beach. Here's 3 cliffs on the way back. Mum used to love going down the hill to Shepherd's, looking up out of the sunroof, so that was nice. Margaret loves all furry things, and here she is with her white mice, which were very friendly with all the local black mice. So that was quite something, and her terrapins, and I think she had stick insects as well. David was coming on nicely. Here he is. He's got a bike. Yes, he's at the beach. He's a cowboy, and he's going to school. Yes, David's going to school. Here he is, Brimwell Junior School now, and I think Margaret going to St Helens Comprehensive, because the grammar school days were over now. I was the last year, and Margaret was now into a comprehensive. Here she is with an elephant, and David with an elephant, and on the beach. Janet, well, she was in Cloyne Bryn. It's a girls' grammar school. Dad was getting on just fine at university, and Mum and Dad, well, they used to entertain a lot. Mum was a fantastic cook, and she used to do kind of big roasts all the time. Here she is with Nana and Dad's mum, Granny. Mum never liked her. I think Granny was cruel to her when they first met up, and she's quite a sour old lady. But Nana, well, she was great. We used to see her in my stag with a variety of different little old ladies. Yes, they used to have their World War shells on the mantelpiece. I'd be careful of those. And this china set, this Napoleonic china set, yes, it caused a lot of fuss in later years. When it came to the will, Mum didn't get anything and didn't like that. The sisters got the rest. Anyway, more photographs of the family as a pack. Now, gardening. Mum loved gardening. I did the lawns. Now, look, you can just about see the stripes on the back lawn. And I did front lawn in competition with Mrs. Cole Morgan, yes. And Dad did the roses. So didn't have a big garden, but what we had, we enjoyed. There's a nice series here. Here's Mum, and then Trevor and Janet, and then Mum and Trevor and Janet, and Mum and Dad, yes. And whoa, look at this. We've actually got all of us together. We're getting to the end of the third year now. I'd stopped playing rugby. I was still playing the clarinet, but I don't think particularly well. I'd got my standard report, which I was doing just fine. Thank you very much. We decided to go to France again. Here's Mum, looking good, I think, and then off on the ferry, just like before. But, ooh, look, David's with us. That's quite a big change. I've got a ridiculous haircut here. And we crammed all of us into this new car, VX7 or something like that. How did we manage to do that? Well, I think David sat on the floor the whole way, and we had a trailer that lasted till we were about 100 yards from home, which is quite remarkable and quite lucky. We also had a good time, peaches and stops, and we had a new big old tent. I think Mum and Dad were camping with us. Peaches went down an absolute storm, so that was really good. And I still remember them, you can't get peaches like that. Margaret was pretty happy on the beach, factor 2 or coconut oil. I mean, it went incredibly brown. Here I am clowning around with a rubber dinghy, making a bit of a meal of getting into it and of getting out of it. Dad going off with David to buy some from the guys on the beach, and Mum going a fine shade of lobster red. On the beach, which is very nice. It's pretty hot. We're not used to that sort of heat. We're not used to blue sky. David's having a nice time. Dad's doing the classic English thing, Mad Dog's Englishman, getting a bit burnt and then covering up. And I think the rubber dinghy was a big hit with all concerned. So it was a very, very good holiday. But I have strong memories. No, not of Donny Osmond, though he was a big hit at the time. But this old pervert here, Gary Glitter, Rock and Roll Part 2. I remember being on the campsite, walking through in the evenings. It was really warm. You could hear the kind of crickets all making noise. And everywhere you went, you heard this song kind of pumping out. I just thought it was fantastic. So kind of music now, kind of a large part of my life and very different to the rest of the family. One more thing to do. Got back, it was a wedding, I think it was Lib's wedding, and Nana loves a good family meet-up. Here she is, talking to everybody, and Margaret was there with her son Tan as well. Mum and Auntie Mara were there, and Benny and all the cousins. I think Dad looks really well here. He's tanned and happy as well. Kath and Anthony. Kath was a great help when we were young. I'm going to finish off with Dad and Auntie Nancy. So life was rolling along quite nicely, but there was a big shock in store. It was coming round the corner. In the next video, the girls come to school. What's going to happen? Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. Maybe see you for the next video. You can like and subscribe if you're in a good mood. Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.